It's the biggest game of the year so far. Big crowd here at Skills Stadium. The last quarter action underway live around the country.
Hudson wins it down, taken by Boyd. Handball clear, taken by Murphy. Back to Boyd. Little give, okay. Cross, jams it on the boot. Inside attacking 50. Lake, an immediate impact. What could he conjure up here? Not a great kick, straight to Milburn. Out wide, Steve Johnson, who's got a lot of his possessions up on the wing and in defence. Blake can't quite gather. Corey Ken, clever little kick around the body. Spotted Mackie, just had too much on it. Addison, little bumble. Mackie, good tackle by Addison. Kelly, Stokes off a step. Just spotted Blake at the corner of his eye. Now big Mark Blake runs to 50, kicks towards the goal square, and the mark's taken by Chapman. Just what the Dogs didn't need. And Brian Lake, he just had to get a little bit more on that ball as he kicked it forward from centre half forward. He couldn't. And in a blink of the eye, Chapman with an opportunity from just 15 metres, 45-degree angle, to extend the lead to 21 points, which would be the biggest lead of the match. Should kick it. He pops it through. The Cats out by 21.
Just a contrast in two sides when they go forward. Bulldogs seem to have a lot of numbers. Geelong defenders seem to be able to close them down. Conversely, when it's turned over, we seem to see a fair bit of space for Geelong. Mark Blake, they're out on his own, running across 50 without any pressure, and you're always going to score more when you haven't got a lot of pressure. I think Mark Blake might have been having a shot at goal, but in the end, goal to Chapman.
Steve Johnson again, around Addison. Left foot kick is effective. Mark taken by Ottens, 55 from goal. Kicks it wide. The target is Mooney. He didn't. He took hands to it. Tiller did well to spoil. Ray ducked. Chance for Chapman. Was he pushed out? They fight on. Tiller goes back in for a second effort, and the umpire will call for it eventually. Dogs look tired. Tiller did well in this exchange, spoiling Cameron Mooney, who's been a very good player this afternoon for Geelong.
Just wear you down physically, Geelong. They just consistently, with their big, strong bodies, make it hard for you.
Ottens again, dominated hit-outs this afternoon. Hudson does well again at ground level. Ray, Morris gave it up. Bartell snaps back to a vacant goal square, and he's put it through. Well, if you don't mind, Jimmy Bartell. Things running right for the Cats. The margin 27 points. You wouldn't think the Dogs could come back from here, but still plenty of time left.
Hasn't seen much time on the bench today. Jimmy Bartell, Rodney E. has got to come up with something, because it looks like the Dogs might be going down. The margin 27. There's still plenty of time. They've got to get their hands on the ball and find an avenue to goal. Cats have the breeze at their back, and their tails are certainly out.
I just wonder whether for Bulldogs, for a change of structure, whether they just don't plant Acker, Murphy, Jiren Siracusa and Johnson just inside the forward 50. They've spent a lot of time up the ground trying to turn this Geelong defence. I think now it's trying to create a bit more space in that midfield so they can run the ball through the middle of the ground, but Geelong on the burst.
Cats shuffling forward again. Steve Johnson for Mackie. Off the left. And it falls beautifully in the path of this man Gamble.
He's still got to get it there though.
He can do no wrong, Ryan Gamble. And they're just tightening the screws and turning them right into the Dogs here, the Cats. Already 27. What an afternoon from Ryan Gamble. Got the call up with the injury to Wajinski, who just pulled up a bit sore during the week. He's taken 5 marks, had 12 disposals, and kicked 4 goals. An afternoon to remember for Ryan Gamble.
Yeah, full credit to Geelong. When they've needed to, they've been able to just find that little bit extra. They do it on the back of just sheer work rate. They understand their game plan so well. Keep in mind, probably two of their best half a dozen players aren't playing today. Gary Ablett and Cameron Ling. And a young man comes into the side, Ryan Gamble, and steps up and looks like a ready-made player.
33 points. Bulldogs have kicked just one goal since half-time. In fact, they've kicked a couple, but Geelong have been absolutely dominant. 3-0 in this final term. Minson, John Siracusa, and Milburn. At half-back off to Harley, Scarlett. And again, they combine beautifully. Corey from centre wing, kicks inside to Mooney. This time from Lakers back at fullback. Stokes has got it. He's immediately tackled a bounce on attacking 50 for the Cats. 8 goals to 2 since half-time. Locked up at quarter time, locked up at half-time. Geelong have shown their superiority in the second half. Griffin dragged down. Morris. Selwood was able to get it wide to Priswell. Little fumble. But did get the handball off to Selwood. To Chapman. Loops the handball to Bartel. Now Stokes. 45 from goal. Just steadies. Measures the kick. Bringing it back. It's the post. 34 points.
Gee, they're just about to make a statement, Geelong. If they haven't already. I mean, they are starting to dominate. 385 possessions. And Bulldogs 278. Just the ability to be able to get the ball in the hands and just to create that pressure constantly on the opposition. It's going to be a challenge for opposition when they face this mighty Cats.
Important dance here for the Dogs as to what happens between now and the end of the game. Even if they can't win, does it matter from here?
Oh, no doubt it does. It's a mindset scene. I mean, they've had an unbelievable season. They've had a draw. Brad Johnson had a shot on the siren against North Melbourne from 30 metres out. If that was the case, they're actually undefeated. If you had to kick that, undefeated coming in today. So this will be their first real loss. It's just if they can get it back to 20 points, it'll mean a lot for the rest of the year.
The first real loss. North fans would like that. The mark's taken by Mooney. They can have a shot for goal. He thought about handballing on, as is the Cats' want.
First significant loss. Potentially. Not over yet. Not a Devossi from last week. We're going to get him home.
No, even I can't manage that right now, Dars.
I just wonder what the lessons that they've learned from this game will be. We'll talk about that more both through the rest of the quarter, and no doubt there'll be plenty of discussion after the match. Cameron Mooney probably didn't start the season in great fashion, but he's such a crucial part of this forward line. He's been a star today and deserves his second goal. And they won.
Just the strength there of Brad Ottens. One of the strongest players in the game, Brad Ottens, around the clearances. That man on screen, Cam Mooney, I reckon he really was the first player that instigated Geelong's day today. Everything he's been involved in has been positive. A very good player.
Mark Thompson very content. 10 marks, 14 disposals, couple of goals for Cam Mooney this afternoon. And the margin, 40 points. Minson beats Blake. Blake does well at ground level to follow up, though. Ray. Geelong free kick will come back to Joel Corey. Still over 12 and a half minutes of actual game time left in the match. It's a long way to go. Dogs need to just regroup here. The Scarlett takes the mark, got it from Hunt. Kick to Stokes. It's just too easy at the moment. And good kick.
That's a terrific understanding. Stokes almost knew immediately that someone was going to double back into that space. And almost without looking, Bartel doubled back into that space and he just kicked it into it. He ran onto it, took an uncontested mark. Bartel's
kicked a couple of goals from just inside 50. just lost it to the right, so they're behind only.
How do you assess his game today? Does 30 disposals, 2 goals.
Yeah, unbelievable. I assess his whole year as being phenomenally consistent. If he didn't win the Brownlow last year, I think we'd be talking about him in the same breath we were last year. It's a pretty heavy tag to hang around from the year before.
Just fraying around the edges now, the Bulldogs.
And you have G. Ablett in front of you, who creates a bit of interest also.
Selwood, can he pinpoint one? Not that time. Chapman, they're lining up across half forward. Mackie deals it back for scale. Opportunity for the Bulldogs, a rare one of recent times. Opportunity runs out. Kelly and Corey. And the kick comes out of defence from Enright for Harley. He's off. And Mooney can go again. Lake's back on him now. Steve Johnson. Even he couldn't get the logistics right that time.
Just got so many different sort of players that provide something special. Steve Johnson's first quarter today was just unbelievable. On Dale Morris, who I know a lot of opposition players almost just shut up shop when he goes to him. He's so hard to get a kick on. Steve Johnson, well, he beat him really convincingly in the first quarter. You look at this Geelong side, you know, Bartel almost goes under the radar, Brownlow medalist. They've got so many different varieties of good players that can get you over the line.
Well done by Blake. Inside 50s in this quarter, 10-2 in favour of the Cats. Harley off to Selwood. Another entry inside attacking 50, and Mooney couldn't quite hold on. And Lake combines with Addison to clear the half-back line, perhaps for the moment, or can Eagleton take the mark? At the 4, Ackermanis.
First possession for the half.
3 on 2. We've seen that as a regular tale through the second half. Taylor does well. And the mark's taken by Mackie. And 50, no.
Mackie lets fly now. Oh, Steve Johnson. He's not enough that he can't do.
Trying to find a player that you can compare him to from any other area. He's actually a unique footballer. He's his own. He's got some magic that I suppose Peter Dacos had. He's got a work rate that a half-forward flanker has never had before, but he's unique.
He's a big Collingwood fan growing up. He loved the work of Peter Dacos. And he's certainly at home on the same stage as the great Dakes. And he's loved down here at Skilled Stadium. It's 48 points the difference. It's phenomenal, isn't it?
Gee, I bet you Geelong fans are happy that he got his stuff in order to become the player that he has. He is just a super player. I mean, if you measure Ablett as the most important player, and perhaps Mooney, I would nearly put him beside Ottens as second and third.
.48 points the margin. Mark Thompson looks on. And Geelong, well, have just dominated. It was all tied up at half-time. Big leap from Blake, taken though by Hudson Griffin. Good little give to Boyd, off to Addison. Wide, Harley and Hahn. Harley does well. You get a boundary throw in.
I think some of the Bulldog forwards have just had an understanding of how good this Geelong defence is. Mitch Hahn had a fantastic season. Been carrying around a little bit of a foot injury, but it's almost a brick wall, the Geelong half-back line.
Blake, Rook. Oh, a handball to Kelly, put him under the pump. Gilbey's applies a tackle.
Fossey, in cricket parlance, Gamble's come into the team today and made 100. Does he keep his place, or do they, when Ling and Ablett come back?
Oh, well, they'll be looking at other options. You keep that form up, gee, you'd be lucky. You generally would be unlucky to miss out on the side.
Kelly back inside to Ottens. Meantime, free kick. It'll come back to James Kelly.
And just on the dog structure, does this raise any questions about their forward line? The old chestnut about them not having a key tall marking forward? Or
No, I don't think so. I think it's another good kick.
Sure, it was a cracker, wasn't it?
Does for me.
And Lonergan has marked 35 metres from goal, directly in front.
I think the thing they have done, Vossi, is tried to create Will Minson as the goal square forward. Started there today is the free kick to James Kelly. just wasn't able to get his hands on the footy, and I think that's probably a compliment to Geelong's defence as opposed. They just haven't got a Cam Mooney, and they can manufacture Will Minson there. I think that's their go.
8 goals in the last 2 weeks. Hasn't kicked a goal this afternoon. Lonigan from 35. It's close. It's a goal. Points the margin. Tom Lonigan kicks his first of the afternoon.
I don't think any of us saw this coming. 6 goals for the Cats in this quarter. Basically unanswered, and it's 54 points the difference. The marks inside 50, Dars, just getting back to the Bulldogs forward line today, 21-4. Now that's obviously about ball movement and a whole lot of other things as well. As Harley takes another great climb and mark, and now Chapman misses the target.
I think they still have concerns in terms of finals football. Under immense pressure, you still need to be able to have somebody that you can kick it to that can create a contest. And you can try and get all your forwards up, but just sometimes it's not going to go your way. And I just think that against Geelong defence, when they work so well together and they do have a bigger bodies, you need to have that option up your sleeve. And instead, we've got Welsh up on the wing trying to get a possession. So from that perspective, I think going into the finals, they do have some concerns in that area of the ground.
All year, Vossi, Will Minson's actually playing full forward at the moment. We saw in the first quarter they probably hit that spot in the square. I reckon they hit it 10 times. Didn't get a lot of value out of it and probably lost confidence in it. There's Will Minson now. They would love to have a big, tall forward, but I think they've just got to manufacture their goals.
Griffin's kick almost made it through. It did in the end for a behind.
Look, I think it's hard to be critical when they've lost 2 games, Darcy. Well, but you've got to be also realistic. Yeah. But you're also talking in a unique environment that is finals, and you know sometimes it's not going to go all your way. And they at stages they haven't today, and they haven't been able to generate a score.
Confidence to kick in and find Blake. He takes the mark and gets it moving again. Mooney was either coming on or coming off the ground, one or the other, but he was sitting on his own in front of the benches, and he's got Corey along for the ride. He takes a very laconic and casual bounce. Spins around, deals it out for Mooney, who might just take the opportunity to kick another one so he can celebrate just one more time. Everybody's getting on the act.
And I suppose we've been talking in the last little bit about some of the Bulldogs' weaknesses. They get exposed pretty clearly, or any side does when you play against this outfit. They are a special combination. Chris Oak playing phenomenal footy and fair way ahead of the next best team in the competition at the moment.
Yes, they are a special combination. Vossi, I wonder in the height of the Brisbane Lions reign at the top of the table, whether you would have loved to take it on this side.
Absolutely. Any team that you can play and you know you're going to get a competition from for 120 minutes. They have a unique belief within their group at the moment that no side can go with them for the full game. They might be able to do it for 3 quarters. They might be able to do it for 3 quarters and 15 minutes. But it's a unique belief they've got in this group. And as we heard Max Rook say, they also believe they're mentally harder than most teams in the competition also.
Rook kicks it inside, attacking 50. Tiller coming across. Lake thumps it wide. Bartel pushes Addison out of the way, free kick.
Did you always feel you had that? Sorry, Chris, did you feel you always had that edge when you were at Brisbane?
I always like to think you did. I don't think we ever mentioned or said it publicly, but you know that over a period of time that you do get a confidence in one another. And whether that translates to the opposition, well, you're never too sure how that affects the opposition until you play them. But I would say, though, and I don't like to compare the areas because the sides are completely different from the Hawthorns to what we did and what Geelong are doing now. But
you would have towed them up, basically.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, I see some of these players out here, I just think they're absolutely brilliant. Their team ethics, as good as they are individually, they bring a unique team, and it's a credit to them. Credit to Mark Thompson also.
Addison's kick run down, and Geelong have just got all the answers. Minson fires it back to Hargrave under pressure. Ray going back, couldn't quite take the mark. Enright kicks it wide. into the path of Mackie, and he can gather and regroup in the back pocket. Beautiful kick to his mate Ottens, and Ottens has got it just backward of the wing.
Plus half your blokes are now in the mid to late 30s. I reckon they'd struggle against the Geelong side in that roster.
The old Don Bradman story.
That is the old Don one. We'll give it another run. Lovely pass into the pocket. Cameron Mooney takes it. He's got plenty of options. Just pops it up for Gamble. And he's marked it inside the... No, it's over and out. What does this mean in terms of the finals? If the Dogs would have played Geelong in the first or the second or the third week, or even the last week of the finals?
I think it just means, whoever plays Geelong they're going to have their work cut out.
But particularly for the Dogs, as their scars out of this, there's a different venue change things.
Yeah, I think you learn a little bit from it. Look, the thing we're forgetting is they've got two of their best players out, Ling and Ablett as well, so throw them back in. The Bulldogs would love to have Tom Williams.
Yeah, they would, and Higgins, they're still hopeful that they're getting back.
Scotty West is also someone that you think might be able to add something coming into the finals as well. So look, there are players to come back in. The most impressive part for me, and Geelong is such an even side, you can't find a weakness, but their defence is almost impenetrable. The Bulldog forward line has been unbelievable. Well, they haven't been able to get a kick today.
Steve Johnson, absolutely brilliant today. Off to Stokes from 50 metres. He measures the kick. It's just offline, but canning into the post. So Matthew Stokes tally this afternoon. 1 goal, 2.
There's a 50-metre pay. Is it Bartel or someone kicked the ball away or touched the ball after it went through? Bulldogs haven't had a goalless quarter this year, so they wouldn't particularly like that. Not that it's going to make much difference. The margin is 60 at the moment.
You know, also the great thing about finals, you don't have to be the best team of the year.
We saw that.
You just have to be the best on the day.
That's right. I mean, Geelong nearly lost a prelim final last year.
Nearly does. Eagleton. Sure. They continue to hunt the Cats. They're still hungry for more. Steve Johnson just can't run onto it. See Gamble still there, turns it straight over to Mooney. He's trying to get it back to Johnson. Umpire deems it a throw. So it's pretty dark and gloomy for the Dogs down here. And as we look what's ahead for the Cats, the Hawks, what a game that's going to be next Friday night. And then the Tigers, the Demons, and a trip to Sydney for ANZ Stadium. Let's hope the conditions of the ground are better than what we saw it a couple of weeks ago. A rare shorty forward for the Dogs. It's going to win like most of their others. Snuffed out by the Cats defence.
Lonigan sweeps the handball inside it. Centre half back to Enright. Little chip's okay. Ottens. No pressure at all, so he has a casual bounce. Off to Milburn, outstanding in the opening quarter. Darren Milburn's got a loose player. James Kelly inside attacking 50. And Kelly now decides not to kick for goal, but to kick across to Stokes, who marks 10 metres from goal. And the Dogs' intensity and focus and concentration has just dropped off considerably in this final term, which will be a big disappointment for Rodney Eade and all Bulldog fans. Just too easy at the moment for Geelong. Applause for Brad Ottens as he comes from the ground. But the ball with Matthew Stokes has kicked one, pops through his second, with the margin incredibly 66 points.
It's a massacre at Skilled Stadium, and the Dogs are going to have to quickly get their act back together because they've got a big game against the Blues next week, followed by a trip to Monica to take on the Sydney Swans, and then North Melbourne and the Brisbane Lions.
8 goals for to 1 behind in this final term.
Yeah, it's been a smashing, Chriso, and the Bulldogs will go back and have to reassess a few things. And Geelong again makes a statement to the football world and says, is anyone good enough to beat us in 2008? They've had a couple of challenges this year in Hawthorn. The Bulldogs, well, they've knocked the Bulldogs on the head, and they take on the Hawks next week.
I think they start pretty firm favourites against the Hawks, but Hawthorn in a different combination with that dangerous forward line. We'll see how the Cats can cope with that, but still a bit more to play out here. Can the Dogs salvage a goal perhaps late in this last quarter? They might get a free here to Addison. The non-controlling umpire pays the advantage, and Ackermanis is away into Big Will. with 3 Cats to try and fend off here. And it proves too much, as it has so many times, particularly since halftime, when the Cats have taken hold of this game. It's been a big week for Geelong, of course, with the news that Brian Cook has signed a new 3-year deal. Frank Costa last night alluding in a radio interview to some big secret plan that they've got for Brian Cook, to something else in the long-term horizon to do here, which they can't announce yet. The locals are loving their footy. Joel Selwood with a very deep penetrating kick. The Glory Boys still want to kick one more, Mooney and Johnson, but they can't there, and it's through from behind.
Just another statistic. Geelong are up to 450 disposals, boys. That's in the last 7 weeks. They've had 5 of the 7 all-time disposals since it's been recorded. They are a machine this term.
Very dark here at Skilled Stadium. Eagleton got it from Addison, but Geelong are just awesome in the way their intensity has been maintained right through this game. Prismal, Kelly, a little fumble. Cooney seizes that opportunity off to Eagleton, but under pressure again, he can only scramble the kick forward, and a boundary throw-in will result.
What that does is it forces you to chase all the time. Just be able to chase, and over the course of a whole game, it wears you out.
Hudson gets rid of Blake. Griffin, well tackled by Taylor. His handball was ineffective. Mackie, Stokes, Milburn, and Milburn will give over the top to Selwood. Chapman, no pressure whatsoever at the moment from the Bulldogs. His kick is perfect. Mark taken by Mooney. Kick towards half forward. Gamble. Chance to make it from there with the wind at his back. Decides to kick across the ground, and sensing the danger coming across Addison, who's been one of the Bulldogs' best. Takes a free kick. Advantage paid. Ackermanis, Harbrow off to Gilby. A bounce. Gilby, good chase from Enright. His handball wasn't gathered initially by Eagleton. He's 55 from goal. Not too many options. Decides to just go for it himself and kicks a superb goal. Nathan Eagleton for the Bulldogs. Well played.
Well, at least they've salvaged a goal in the last quarter. Didn't go goalless. You find that amusing, Anthony?
I find you amusing. Just watching you in the last quarter, just watching your body language. That's been amusing.
Had the edge taken off me a little bit. It's look.
It's a really disappointing day for the Bulldogs, but as we've said, you know, they've had a great year. So I guess now it's how they respond from here that's the crucial thing.
Yeah, next week will be massive for them against Carlton. It just it stands out like a beacon how good Geelong are. You can't take anything away from them.
All right, last minute or so, you would imagine Cooney taking it away. Can he hit a target? There's the answer. Big Will. Dished it out nicely for Griffin, almost an accidental kick for Milburn. And he's got runners. This is Prismal now, another man who's going to be just desperate to cling onto his spot as the finals approach. Late change of decision from Enright. It's all over. The Cats with authority at Skilled Stadium by 61 points.
This has been a Fox Sports presentation.